We're glad you joined us today in this Course in Miracles. We're going to present to you the idea that in the certainty you can change your mind about yourself, you're going to have to assume the title of being a minister of God. And while that's lost to most of you, in the fundamental idea, first of all, of what a minister is and then what God is, I assure you that it's inevitable in the practice of the training of your own mind, you're not going to come to realize who you are. And the certainty of that realization will demonstrate to you the necessity to take this message out into the world. When I look at all the messages that you are taking out into the world as you identify your conceptual self in the entire chaos of not knowing who you are, it should be a welcome relief to you that as you begin to experience the joy and happiness of the entirety of who you must be within this continuum, that you will begin to declare it and perhaps even demonstrate it through what? Miracle healing. The idea that you can go among the fostering of your own conceptual mind and begin to represent yourself. Isn't that exciting? What a prospect, all right, that in the assumption of that role of self-identity, you can realize, first of all, that you were the cause of the world yourself, that there really wasn't anything outside of yourself. And so this is lesson 154 that says, I will assume somewhere the title of the assumption of responsibility for saviorship. And while that remains vernacular, I assure you that as we expressed, say, in 152, the idea that the power of decision is yours, as you realize that more and more within yourself, you will treasure the idea that the power of your release from the bondage of your self-identity is available. So I am a minister of God, lesson 154. Let's go back just for a moment and review a little bit of what we shared together from this miracle workbook in lesson 153. Listen. So here's why you're here. It is the function of God's ministers to help their brothers choose as they have done. God has elected all, but few have come to realize his will is but their own. And while you fail to teach what you have learned, salvation waits and darkness holds the world in grim imprisonment. Nor will you learn that light has come to you and your escape has been accomplished, for you will not see the light until you offer it to all your brothers. As they take it from your hands, so will you recognize it as your own. Listen, salvation can be thought of as a game that happy children play. It was designed by one who loves his children and who would replace their fearful toys with joyous games which teach them that the game of fear is gone. His game instructs in happiness because there is no loser. Everyone who plays must win, and in his winning is the gain to everyone insured. The game of fear is gladly laid aside when children come to see the benefits salvation brings. You who have played that you are lost to hope, abandoned by your father, left alone in terror in a fearful world made mad by sin and guilt, be happy right now, because that game is over. Now, a quiet time has come in which we put away the toys of guilt and lock our quaint and childish thoughts of sin forever from the pure and holy minds of heaven's children and the Son of God. We pause but for a moment more to play our final happy game upon this earth, and then we go to take our rightful place where truth abides and games are meaningless. And so is the story ended. Let this day bring the last chapter closer to the world, that everyone may learn the tale he reads of terrifying destiny, defeat of all his hopes, his pitiful defense against a vengeance he cannot escape, is what? His own deluded fantasy. God's ministers have come to awaken him from the dark dreams this story has evoked in his confused and bewildered memory of this distorted tale. God's Son can smile at last on learning that what? It is not true. So the idea that you are going to assume a role in the drama of the part that it appears that the world has assigned to you, all right, in the idea of a story that we are telling together in our self-identities that justify continuing alternatives in our mind that sustain us in the occupation that we have chosen in regard to who we think we are, based on the necessity of the occupation of this body. If you want to look at the Barb, all the world is a stage, you might want to be certain that within your conceptual identity, there's no question that you play a part in the purpose that, first of all, the world tells you that you are. It's impossible that you did not need to utilize the spatial reference of the organization of this little meaningless particular of matter in order to justify the setting of a stage where you could act out with the humans who represent themselves in this continuum, the necessity for you to attack and defend yourself and subsequently succumb with love to the inevitability of your death. And you formulated it in a lot of different ways because formulation of the conceptual mind is what you are. The problem that you've had with it is somewhere your belief that you must play the part that this apparent continuum of time has assigned to you. It's very difficult for you to see beyond a parameter of self-consciousness as a human being that will not give to you solutions that are contained within this continuum. And that's whether you intend to be a bum, a garbage collector, a doctor, a president, a king, or a pauper. That makes absolutely no difference. Your need to identify yourself and justify yourself in the aggregation of the ideas of the form of temporal identity are binding you. What's difficult for you to see in the procedures of this Course in Miracles, say beginning with lesson 152, where the power of decision is yours, that as you change your mind about yourself, there's no way in which the world can deny you that change unless you insist on defending yourself in the manner in which the world previously represented you. Are you hearing this at all? Because if you don't defend yourself, you can see that the new you that emerges requires no defense. It will be a new self. It may still be connected to your occupation, but the occupation will become little and very small and meaningless and with no goals to you as you begin to include it in with the entirety of your new discovery. So let's listen together about the assumption of the role that you are taking as a minister of a new world, of a new continuum. Listen. Let us today be neither arrogant nor falsely humble. We have gone beyond such foolishness. We cannot judge ourselves, nor need we do so. These are but attempts to hold decisions off and to delay commitment to our function. It is not our part to judge our worth, nor can we know what role is best for us. What we can do within a larger plan we cannot see in its entirety. Our part is cast in heaven, not in hell. And what we think is weakness can be strength. What we believe to be our strength is often arrogance. Whatever your appointed role may be, it was selected by the voice for God, whose function is to speak for you as well. Seeing your strengths exactly as they are, and equally aware of where they can be best applied, for what, to whom, and when, he chooses and accepts your part for you. He does not work without your own consent, but he is not deceived in what you are and listens only to his voice in you.